Chargebacks, returns, and lowball offers too. Zero takedowns, they're a pain. What can we do? High selling fees, bad buys and rude buyers galore. Flipping ain't easy, but we keep coming back for more.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. That's John with Flipping Ain't Easy. We have our special guest today, Kevin, Commonwealth Picker, or you may know him as Commonwealth Flipper, depending on how you want to know him as. But Kevin is someone that we respect, and I want to thank you for coming to the show.
Well, I want to thank you for inviting me. I have that exact same shirt. My mother gave it to me for my 48th birthday.
You didn't get the memo. You're supposed to wear it.
I could go get it. I just wore it the other day. I played pretty good. I shot 40 on the front side, John. I had a good day.
Yeah, you know, I played yesterday as well, and I shot pretty decently. You know, I guess we're all kind of our own worst critics when it comes to golf. I'll you know, I don't think I could break 80, and I'll probably find some things to get upset at. But wanted to, you know, clear the air, dispel some things. Number one, there's this rumor going around that you and I got together and decided let's generate clicks, views, whatever, and let's create controversy around something like Barbie. What?
That rumor is true, but it was about rotten fruit. Actually, this was right. Organic. This was real. No,
yes, we did get together at one time to create a series of videos that was circulating around. I don't know if you guys remember, it was a year and a half, 2 years ago, where we had the same buyer with the same MO. They were some college student out of Illinois somewhere, and they bought an item from each of us, and they opened a return.
Hey, they say they can't hear me, John. They say they cannot hear me.
Oh,
that's what
your
they're
mic's
saying
on
in the chat.
It is kind of low. I think your mic is kind of low.
Quiet. It's quiet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll turn it up a little bit. Maybe that'll help. I don't know.
Yeah, it does show when you speak, it does come out low. So I don't know if maybe a lot of times what happens is like Windows will cut your input volume down to like
now?
70.
That better?
That's better. That's better. Yeah.
Too loud? Y'all tell me.
No, that's good.
So they didn't hear any of my good jokes. This is disappointing. I came to make sure that Jenna wasn't mad at me. That was the only purpose. And now Jenna's not in the seat. So
no, she's not mad at you. But she thought that she wasn't coming in until the second hour of the show. And then so she's like, I'm not ready yet. I'm like, all right, we're going to go ahead and get started without you. So what we're going to do is we're going to have just a conversation. We're really not going to go through the comments the first part of the show. I mean, if you have some questions, we'll kind of keep an eye out for that. And, you know, just want to talk about what's going on and reselling in general and all that. And Kevin was nice enough to come on for an hour. And I got to tell you, this is like finding Bigfoot because Kevin doesn't go on a lot of lives, right?
I don't. Only if you're allowed to shill stuff. That's the only time I go on lives. I'm not shilling anything. Sorry, Josh. Not shilling a darn thing today.
This is a rare moment in history. So hopefully you guys are up for it.
Well, I was just saying, let me say this. There's a ton of folks in the chat. First of all, don't be mad at me that Jenna's not here. It wasn't my fault. She'll be here.
She will be here.
I know everybody wants Jenna here. But I'm just waiting. Beard's in here. I'm waiting all these guys in here. But we share a lot of the same people that listen to us. And John watches me every once in a while, obviously, from the other day. I watched John, just a little context here. I've watched John since... I watched a few of your videos, John, before you put out the one that really got me interested in you because I was paying attention on that video, and that was the Informed Consumer Act after I had made mine, but didn't realize you had made yours first. And Carrie's like, oh, you're just copying John. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I remember that.
Who's John? Who's John? He's like, Flipping Ain't Easy. He's in Vegas, and he speaks, he's always spoken highly of you, even though he makes fun of you, but that's how you know Carrie liked you.
Oh yeah,
I know and Carrie. So I started. I honestly, I'd listened to this live probably. Oh, man, with you and Jenna, I do a lot of shipping. Monday is a big shipping day for me, And obviously, because the weekend, it's a big day for most folks. And I listen to
Right.
John all the time. I agree with John 99% of the time, and especially when he rips on Beard. That's when I'm really 100% on board.
Don't tell Beard that. And it's too early in the show, so he's still sleeping, so he won't hear it either. So, I look, just real quick, I just want to make sure, because your microphone wasn't working well. So I just want to put it out there. Let's clear the air. There is no animosity. There is no conspiracy to create clicks or views or whatever. Let me put it this way. Kevin doesn't need to create views or clicks. That guy has, you get like 20,000 plus views per video. If anyone, it's me that needs the clicks. So there's
not
really
so
not a
much.
need for all that. It just, I think it was a misunderstanding in that, I think what my mistake was, and I talked about it in my last video, was talking about anyone in general, just bringing up Kevin in the first place, maybe just throwing out a generic example without using his name or his example, probably would have done a lot better and prevented a lot of miscommunication and stuff. So, that's probably where it started. And of course, Kevin's in his right to comment back, of course, because I mentioned him, right? Mentioned his situation, but it was never intended to call him out or anything. And I didn't want to make Kevin feel that way. So I did apologize, and I do apologize. And that if I made you feel like I called you out in any way,
Well,
I
I'll tell you this.
apologize.
I had my dad just came. What do you need, Pop?
I need my cup of porridge now after I've done all my
He's
work.
been mowing my grass. All right.
Okay.
I'm on a serious podcast. He must think I'm on Trash to Cash. He can just come in and do whatever. Anyway,
Ain't all that serious.
listen, I'll be honest. We spoke when I saw you do that video, and then I told you, I sent you a message before. I was like, I'm going to do a response video to this,
Yep.
and I didn't think anything of it because I do agree with you most of the time, all the time, really, and I don't disagree with you on this. I just think it is a message for different people.
Yes.
And then I thought about it, and I said, you know what? I don't think I gave him the right answer on that, because I clearly thought, just like you thought, strongly enough here in that part of my video to make sure that your audience knows, hey, it's not a good idea to just blanketly listen to people and take that. I totally agree with that message. The problem that I said I didn't have, but then realized after I filmed my video, I'm like, well, why did I film the video if I didn't have a problem? The problem that I really had was I actually say that all the time. That's my message too. And I felt like, how have I found myself in the situation where I'm giving bad advice to this thing? And I thought, maybe I should be on. And I did tell you that the other day, and you told me the same thing about my title. It's like, that was not the intention. And so it's just just basically messages getting crossed here. But in reality, I think both of us totally agree on the entire situation that you wanted to address, which is, you need to pay attention to who you're listening to. I think 90%, I mean, look at these people in here. These people probably outsell the heck out of both of us.
These people are great.
A lot of them, right? I mean, there's
Right.
a lot of great. Mike Metco just came in. So I don't think there's really any disagreement. I have a problem with people who are just constantly pie in the sky, and they're just like, you can do this too. Well, maybe maybe you can,
Right.
and
Right.
maybe you could go, and I said this, and I consider Josh Harry Tornado a friend. I think he's a good guy, but I initially had concerns when I'd see, I'm like, how can you pay that much for a pair of shoes? You're flipping you're buying $12 shoes, sell them for 25. It's like, whatever, right? And then the more you do this over time, it's like the models are different. You also have revenue coming in, and a lot of the things that were said in your comments, and you have content, and you can, just like they were saying about you live in Vegas and you could do, well, I know a lot of people in Vegas that you got to work, right? And then for me, it's like, well, he makes money on content, so he can say that, and that's how he can do. All that stuff is a part of the equation. But I think both of us, we like to talk to our audiences and be clear about things. And I think that's all that was, is you wanted clarity. And I actually agree with you. We shared numbers a little bit. And my buy cost is 10%. It just is. It is every stinking year at the end of the day. That doesn't mean I won't go up. It doesn't mean I certainly will go down. I just felt like, man, I've been doing this for 3-4 years, and I constantly say stuff like, this is, I explained that particular thing that day, John, really for two reasons. One, somebody left a comment on my video that was like, that was the dumbest thing in the world. And then somebody else said, what are you talking about? And I saw the debate. And because I saw the debate in my comments, I wanted to have the debate because that's what makes us better. And then when you did that video, I'm like, yeah, let's have this debate, not to make one side right and one side wrong, but to let people look. That I got your thing going on here. I need to turn this volume off. But to let people figure out where they're at in this situation and make a good decision. So that was my thought process in making that video, is to say, hey, everybody's not in the same spot, and these are the reasons why. But you're right. I didn't, in that particular video, go through and be like, hey, this is who it's right. But I do that a lot. And that's why I made the response video. And then you made yours, and you made me feel real bad. And so
I'm sorry that I made you feel bad. I got to tell you, I don't know where the last video, I didn't go back to watch it. I didn't want to go back. I was in a funk for a good 2 days after making that video. Somehow my discussion on that last video I made put me in a dark place that I don't
your
know
last video. In your last video.
My last video that I came out on the subject. I think it was titled "My Response to CWP" or whatever it is, and I kind of felt like, and I guess what brought me there more than anything else, nothing that you said or anything like that. You've been 100% respectful in your video and made a point. Hey, John's a good guy and all that. It's allowing the Commonwealth picker fans who came at me to just kind of allow it to like resonate with like some of the things we were saying. And it was like, I don't know, it just put me in a bad place. And so that's kind of what that last video was. It's like, I kind of compare you to Taylor Swift in that, you don't want to piss off a Swiftie because they'll come after you. Right. So that's kind of what happened there. You got a lot of fans that'll like come back at you if they see anything that even is remotely detrimental to Kevin.
I'll say this. And I, what you don't know is I deleted comments. Comments. And if you go look at my video, I responded to every single one, because I get this from Dave all the time. Like, why do you and I always defend Dave because I know Dave. I know Dave to be a good husband and a good father and a terrible reseller, and that's what no, I'm kidding. But I know he's actually a decent reseller. People don't realize it. But it was this. Me and you are similar in some ways. One in particular is we take stuff to heart. And I'm glad you made that second video. I bet there's a lot of people in the comments that are glad you made that second video. And your comment section in that video shows you that there's a lot. There's people like, it hurt my, like, I don't know Primo. I think he's got the best background in your podcast by far. You're second. And then Beard and Josh are they're brutal. But he clearly, I've been watching him ever since I've heard his name. And I'm like, man, this guy is amazing. This is like what I like aspire to be as a reseller, because I'm really just a mom and pop reseller still. And I'm like, oh, he's on Team John. It's like, at that point, I'm like, there's no teams here. We're actually on the same team when you compare it to a lot of the garbage you see out there. And I'm like, man, this is not where I wanted this thing to go at all.
Yeah. So. No, I think I said something about like, based on the comments, if it ever came down to like Team John versus Team Kevin's going to win every time, because this is the kind of, and that's kind of what put me in a bad place. And look, I've made over 500 or 600 videos in the last 5.5 years. And I've made it a very, very big point to myself to not take any content to a dark place, because we're a reselling channel. This isn't a therapy channel or poor me channel. This is simply people coming together who want to interact with others that do something similar, maybe in a different way, but something similar. Most of us we use eBay and in our businesses, and it's a common place where we can come to have community, right?
Yep.
And it's not about, you know, poor John. And I try to make that, and I almost deleted the video after
I'm
I
glad you
posting
did.
it.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Listen, I will say this. Let me say two things. One is I watch John probably more. If you take the podcast you guys do and your show and this live, I watch you more than any other content creator, and that's just a
Thank
fact. And I like Jenna and you in these lives, and I'm able to work and still chime in and you know, troll Beard or something, whatever. I enjoy the heck out of it. I love the people that the names in this thing right here that I see. Well, except for Jimmy, I really enjoy.
There he is.
And the opinions of these people are like, you know, some of the people that commented, if you look at our videos, especially the ones who are commenting on both, if they're commenting in a John Flippin' Ain't Easy video, I know they're not some fly my night reseller, and they're commenting on mine. I've learned, we talk about, you know, Silverhair Stacker is in here, and there's a few, and when I see him in it, Mr. Sadie's been commenting on my, and a lot of times they'll agree with me. But let me tell you, when you say something that they don't like, they'll say it. They'll say it, and I respect that about the commenters. It's the ones that you read the comments. It's like, you don't even know this person. You don't even know me. It's like I don't care about those comments. It's the folks in here you know are good resellers, been commenting for years. You know what they do. Maybe you've met them in person, like you've met a lot of these people. I will say a couple things. One, when I started this, I'm like, yeah, I can talk, I can do this and whatever, and I've been teaching and whatever, but I felt insecure about reselling because that's why I made a joke out of Tupperware, right? I made a joke out of Tupperware because deep down in my soul, it's like, this is stupid. These people are making real money and I'm flipping $8 Tupperware lids. And so I made a joke of it, but it was really to shield myself from feeling inadequate with all these good resellers. And I'm sitting here as a talking head on YouTube. I'm like, why am I the talking head on YouTube? These guys are making 200 grand a year. Or they're making fit or doing whatever. I had been doing it for a long enough time that I felt like, and just like I was teaching, that I could talk to the kid in the back of the room that didn't want to be talked to and didn't want to be a part of anything. And I could talk to that, you know, quarterback of the football team and the cheerleader, and I could relate to both of them. And so I've tried to make my channel about relating to the grandma selling the, you know, jewelry out of a case in her garage or bedroom, making $80 a month. And still, as I've grown in this business, chime in on some bigger things that I'll often say that, like, hey, if you want to really make money, this probably isn't the way to do it. And that's how I relate to, say, Josh, for instance, right? Much bigger scale. But me and Beard love garage sales. And so I just want to relate to all these people. And so when you do that, and you have an audience with that big of an audience, as far as a spectrum goes, you do have to be careful what you say, because some things apply to some and not others.
Right, and it hits a nerve differently with each person, right? Now, Amazon seller says, you two are taking this way too seriously, I think. Who cares what anyone thinks? $100 for a $250 Barbie is probably too much, but that's just my 2 cents. So I think this is where it all kind of started. So let's put this one to bed if we can. The whole idea of $100 into $250. I've never said that it is just a horrible, for every seller, it's a horrible idea. In my business model, it is a horrible idea because, and this is why I have a hard time going to an everyday yard sale. The things I get are at such a great discount that taking that same $5 or $10, and you know, I can get 2 or 3 items that'll flip me $75 to $100 per item, potentially up to $200, $300, $400 for that $10 investment. I can't do much more than maybe a $75 item for that $10, you know, at a yard sale. And so for me, it's like, why do I want to spend this kind of money here when I can go over here and get more value for my money? And then the idea of, you know, coming across 2 Barbies, and this is nothing against Barbie. Sorry, Mattel, we have nothing against you.
I saw one
It's
today for
just,
$54. Not one of
yeah,
those.
yeah, unless I have like some guy like back at home that said, "Look, if you come across these two Barbies, I'll pick them up off you for 250 or whatever." Look, I ain't buying it, and that's just me. That doesn't mean that your business model's bad. Everyone's got to figure this thing out, right? And for me, figuring it out is what I've done with my business, and I have a certain business model. It's no different than someone saying, "Look, I sell postcards," right? The argument of if you go to a yard sale and you walk by a PS5 for $20, would you pick it up? Some people would say, no, I wouldn't pick it up. It's not in my wheelhouse. And while some would be like, are you crazy? Others would,
Right.
be like, yeah, they don't deal with that type of item. So there's no right or wrong answer. My whole point in all of that wasn't to say you're right. You're right. I'm right, whatever, who's right. It's just be careful. And I made it a point to say, look, even the stuff that I give out, make sure it fits what you're trying to do with your business. And, maybe there's a couple bits and pieces that you could pick up from Kevin or from me or from someone else that, what, that makes sense. Let me try it. Then, yeah. And if it, don't just say, oh, wow, I'm going to try to emulate everything Kevin's going to do because it may fail tremendously. And now you're pissed off at a YouTuber for giving bad advice, right?
Yeah. So I'd say a couple things. First, that is not my business model. I think most people who watch me realize, I mean, I get ripped on for being too cheap. That is not by going out with the intention of paying $100 for something that will sell from $225 to $300 is not my business model at all. Matter of fact, I can't wait for this video actually to come out because I hemmed and hawed over this for a long, long time. A long time. And I'm like, it's too much. I know that Jimmy's in the chat. Jimmy never pay $100 for that thing. I went picking with Kristen, a rural squirrel, and there's a bunch of stuff I bought at a yard sale, or I piled up, but it was a make an offer yard sale. And I'm like, how much would you make an offer? Because I knew I was going to get torn up in the comments for the offer I was going to make. And I was like, how much would you pay? She's like, I don't know, $10. I'm like, $10. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to pay 50. But in all fairness, I knew exactly what was in there. Actually, I didn't. I knew bare minimum what was in there. And in reality, if Beard King's got his popcorn in here, Beard King, there he is. Your book, your signed Stephen King book came from that sale. I just didn't know it was in there. So, but her thought process was, why would I buy this at a yard sale for more than I would pay at the bins? I go to the bins all the time. It's so cheap. Why would I? And so it's the same thought process, right? So there's a couple dynamics. One is I make content. It's clear. I make picker content. So that debate and deliberation of whether I bought those or not, I wasn't sure I was going to buy them, but I knew that debate was going to be on my video. Regardless if I bought it or not, the content remains pretty much the same, right? I could have done, and then they could be like, you should have bought them, you shouldn't have bought them, whatever. That was what I wanted in the video. At the end, I decided to buy them because I saw only one listed of one of the particular Barbies and two sold for $200 for the one Barbie. And one of those was at auction for $200. And I'm like, I'm like, so if it's at auction and there's two sold, one listed, I'm like, I know I can get $200 for that one in a second. I really have no doubt. And so the other one was all over $50 to $100, and I'm like, okay. So I know $250 is pretty much the floor on this thing. And it's really more my thought process. It wasn't like this. You look at me 15, 20 years ago, that was an absolute no-go. But I've built up money, capital to buy. And I also have a whole social media side of it that's like, okay, I'm going to make money on this, period. End of story. I'm going to make money on this. I'm going to get this. The reality, which I didn't mention in the video and you didn't know, is I have a very close acquaintance here in town that sells Barbies. They're one of the best Barbie sellers in the country. And in my mind, I'm thinking, and they have all kinds of other stuff that they don't like as much. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh, she's going to die for this thing because she can get way more money than I can for this thing. And I'm going to take it to them, and they're going to give me a ton of stuff that I can sell. That's ultimately what I'll do with it. But that's not something I was going to say on that video. I was going through because who cares about that, right? Most resellers want to know what you paid for it and what you think you're going to sell it. And a lot of content creators, to be honest, and I've been accused of this too, and most of the time it's on accident. When you choose your comp to put on the screen on a picker video, sometimes you have a huge range to choose from. And I've seen some out there, I'm like, you're not getting that for that thing. Zero chance.
Some will put the highest one.
The highest,
some will put the highest number,
comp.
yeah.
And I have put the highest comp, but it's usually on like on a perfect example of something that is just pristine, and that's what this one was. I didn't put the comp on this one yet, but this was perfect. I mean, everything. It was a collector. They had stuff laid out, priced. It was pristine, and so all those things go through my head in this. But what really got me was, you know, the response to the comment in my initial video. Not about because this is before you made your video, where I would never ever pay more than 10% for an item, and I'm like, man, I make an awful lot of money on things I pay more than 10% for it. And there is, and I still believe this, there is a scale to this in reselling. Rod Picking and Punching does this all the time. I'm like, man, you're paying way more than I would pay for that thing. But I just had a video come out today where I bought an Elvis belt. Like, he set the record for attendance, and it's this big metal belt. And they made a bunch of these, I guess. And I hemmed and hawed over this, and it was tough for me. I paid $115 for this thing, and the comps were $250 to $300. And I'm like, I don't know. That's a little rough.
Yeah.
I ended up, because there was none like this particular one, I listed it for $300 and I got it. And so in my mind, I think, okay, $300. By the way, there's somebody in your comments that is always selling that after fees and everything, it's 40 to 50%. That's ridiculous to me. You must be promoting at 25% if you're paying 40 to 50% fees. But whatever.
That's high, yeah.
It's crazy. But for me, I don't promote, and I say that on my videos all the time. So hopefully people know, and I don't have to promote because I'm promoting all the time, right? And so I make sure people know that, look, we've talked about this. You promote. A lot of people, most people, I would say, promote.
Right.
I don't, because I don't have to. But that's, it's something people should know. But I pay max. I'll pay like $50 fees on that thing. $250. Is it a risk? Yeah, it's a bigger risk than I would normally take. But I'm gonna make $125, $130, and the whole process took me an hour. So I really think there is a scale. And if you're confident about something and you have excess capital, right? And that's really what makes the difference. If you have, 10 grand sitting in a sourcing account, and I mentioned 50 to you the other day, and you mentioned it on your video. That's something that it took me 25 years to get, because my sourcing account came purely from my reselling. I keep my social media account separate. I have an investment account for my social media. But it took me painstaking efforts to get to that point. And it was about $20,000 at one point, my sourcing budget, which I never use it. I go out with, $600-800 or something.
Yeah.
And I had an opportunity to have a massive buyout, and I missed it because I didn't have that capital ready. And so I was like, forget it. I'm going to get to 50 grand. And so I just paid myself less because I didn't need the money. And a lot of people can't do that. And that's, I think, where part of the conversation is, because you just simply can't do that. Social media allowed me to pay myself way less reselling so I could build that thing up. And I built it to $50,000. You know what happened? I made a $50,000 offer on a buyout and didn't get it. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. But it was probably worth, $200,000 worth of stuff. And I see people like Primo, I know he's done some stuff like that, those big things. And I want to grow into that kind of reseller while I remain a mom and pop garage sale picker, because that actually is what I love the most, and it's what I do for social media. So it's a strange world of things coming together.
Yeah, it's weird for me when I go to a yard sale. I'll pick up the small stuff and accumulate that. But if I come across an opportunity, maybe not even one that's being offered as that kind of an opportunity, I'll be like, how much for all of it? To try to buy out as much as I can if I like what I see. So I'm trying to buy as much as I can. If I could fill up my SUV at when I go do yard sales with like Archie or other people, if I don't fill up the back of my SUV, I feel like I've didn't accomplish everything I set out to, and I will just go crazy and buy. I almost bought out a couple years ago, and I believe she's a hoarder, and I think that's why her grandson got involved and said you need to sell a lot of this stuff. So she's had a series of yard sales, but her garage remains full of tubs, like floor to ceiling. And she showed me some of it. There were Barbies in there, some from the 80s and 90s, still in the box. And she had mentioned. I said, "Well, I have a friend who might be interested at the time, and $300 is the number I threw away just to see what she'd say." Oh yeah, I'd take that. And I didn't take it because I knew Jenna would kill me for I had taken 2-car garage full of tubs where we had no place to put it, sight unseen for the most part.
Space. It's a big
Right.
deal.
Logistically,
where you
I
gonna
couldn't pull
store?
the trigger on that. I mean, I
And
bought
you're
her
in
shoes,
Vegas.
but
Vegas ain't
I'm
easy.
willing to bet she's still hoarding that stuff, and she's still probably hasn't even touched those tubs. And I do have her number. I can call her. So I think that is an option if I wanted it. But I think I'm thinking against it, right? Because I really don't want people to think I'm a Barbie hater, but it's not
80s and
in my
90s,
business
it's
model.
like it could be hit and miss. These happen to be from the 60s, and they were just highly desirable. But
Yeah.
you're in Vegas, and that one commenter's like, "Well, everybody doesn't live in Vegas." I'm like, "It ain't that easy, folks." But there's limitations to being in Vegas too. Like I can put another shed and another shed. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have 6 sheds. I don't want to have storage units. I don't want to have a warehouse. That's just my personal preference. But there's money in it. If you get you can scale this thing and you can do all those things. You just got to make those decisions as to what is best suited to your lifestyle. And for me, it's why I haven't advocated ever for live selling. Matter of fact, I tell people all the time 95% of people should probably just not do it, period. However,
Right.
for me, it was a way to take that deal that you just talked about and buy it because I know I can get all the money back I spent on it that day or the next day and it's gone, and then have this little pile of good stuff. And that's really made my business quite a bit different. I'll never be a full-time live seller, cross my fingers. And I'll probably never just go back to selling statically either because of the amount of bulk you can buy. And I'm fortunate enough to have people watch me to buy this stuff. And so I've melded the two together. But I'm not going to sit here. I've seen content creators say, you better get into live selling right now or you're going to be like, I'm like, it's just not going to work for some people. It's just not going to work. And so I try to split that baby and say, look, there is a portion of the audience, though, that it could work for. And so I don't want to just poo-poo the thing and trash it and say, no, it's not for, it's only for these people. But in reality, it's only for people that have this mindset. It's only for people that have unlimited sourcing resources, maybe not unlimited, but it is for some people and it's not for some, just like this thing that we're talking about right now.
Yeah, and if you think about how auctions on eBay were the way to go, and even when they introduced fixed price, people were focused mostly on auctions, and then things kind of moved over towards the fixed price. Fewer and fewer people are using auctions on eBay than ever before, and that's, in my mind, it may be the way things are going with live selling, that it's going to be more the way people do it versus putting your item up and waiting for that buyer to come across it. I really think that in the next 2 to 5 years, we could see a different landscape in reselling. And it could be that maybe it's eBay opening up their eBay Live to more people, more categories, right? I don't know.
I'm a little nervous about that.
I often wonder what that's going to look like.
Yeah, I know we said we weren't responding to comments, but Shortcoin put a question there. He says, "You make no money live selling?" ? And then a thought. That's not what I said. What I said was, if I wanted to make the bigger buy, and sell off a good portion of that bigger buy to get it gone, because a lot of times it handicaps you in what your other business is. When you're overwhelmed with stuff, it makes it harder to do the stuff that really's got the good ROI and makes you money. Like I bought on today's, or the video I just edited to come out on the Picker channel, I didn't even think about what I was buying. I wasn't looking stuff up. I wasn't comping stuff because I knew it was a whole sidewalk of stuff. I just kept piling stuff on their sidewalk. And I knew there was a $150 item in there, and I knew there was a $125 item in there. So there's $275, right? And so I just piled stuff up, and I offered them $200. I didn't care if some of that stuff wasn't worth any money. I didn't care because I knew I'd list those 2 items on eBay, and I'm already in the profit. I have tons to sell live, and out of that live batch, probably half of it's going to go on eBay. It's like you just got to figure out where your time is best spent. And for me, listing $6 items on eBay and where my time is going to be best spent, I'd rather bulk up a ton of $6, $8, $12 items and sell them off really quick. That's why I did Shop Commons, so I could sell them in one lot instead of sitting on a show for an hour selling $2 items, to sell them that way. So like I said, it really is very particular to how people want to run their business. And a lot of people don't want to buy too much. That's a problem. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of people who simply buy way too much for what their situation can handle. You don't have the space, you don't have the time, and then where are you at? You're overwhelmed and you want to quit.
And don't even know where to begin. I've felt that before when buying pallets of merchandise. And then you're looking at this merchandise going, where do I even start, right? And to me, the only advice I can give is if you're overwhelmed with merchandise, take one empty bin, fill it, take it to the place where you're going to do all this listing and start there. Do that tub, and then, go back for more if you have time, but do it at just a tub full or a box full at a time. That's probably the best advice I can give for that.
I'm kind of there right now. I don't source in. There's 3 months a year where I source little to none, and you've talked about before that Q4 isn't your best quarter, right? I have my uncle, whose Q4 is his worst quarter. He does golf, and he crushes it. The only time he sells something in Q4 that's golf is to you guys, or to Arizona, or to South Florida, or something.
Yeah.
And so. I always get nervous every year, like, do I have enough to keep me busy all winter, listing stuff? And so this year, I kind of overdid it. Now looking like I've got way too much stuff, which was part of your argument too, right? It's like, if you have stuff at home, why do you put this money in something, right? That was one of your arguments. And it's a very good argument. It's very valid. For me, it's like, how do I make my money work best for me? And so part of that is I could have not spent that $100 on those 2 Barbies, and I'd still have that $100. But I've got, 12 more of those sets of $100 sitting there doing nothing. And so for me, it's like, okay, I just knew I could make this trade and whatever, but I could sell it. I was tempted actually to say, I'm going to show John, I'm going to sell it in 2 days. But I'm like, that wasn't my plan. I'm not going to do it.
Have you sold it yet?
I haven't even listed it yet. I set him aside when I came home. I set him aside in that shed, and I called my friend, and I'm like, hey, I'm trying to build Dibdit cards. Oh, I said I wasn't going to shill. Sorry. I'm trying to build this reseller platform. And all, David Care, they're all doing that. And we built up Dibdit, and I was like, I need some, like, you got any pop culture cards? Like, oh, yeah, we got that. I'm like, okay, because I need that. It's a separate business, essentially. I'm trying to build up something completely different. And so I'm going to trade those, but I'm going to film it, of course. I'm going to put it in my content, and it'll be a cool part of a video, because now it'll be like, oh, look at all these, I got Lion King card packs, I got Mortal Kombat, I got whatever I got. And then I'll go and sell those off, and it's all wrapped in together. And I think that makes a difference for people. If you're a lawyer out there, a doctor, my doctor is a reseller. I'm like, what are you doing? But he's like, I just love it. I just love going to yard sales. He don't need the money. He don't care. He could care less.
Selling your information?
There you go. Anyway, he watches me now, so that's interesting. But I probably shouldn't drink Mountain Dew when I'm out there on the yard sale trail if he's watching. But I think it's just so different for everybody. We're all in different situations. There's a lot of retired people out there. They don't need the money. It's nice to make $600-800 a month, or 1,000 or 50 or whatever it is. Those are the pickers, in my opinion, most of the time. Those are the people who don't need it, who do it the way that's like, yeah, they go out and they come back without a carload of stuff. They come back with 4 things and they just made, $180, $90, $600 on 4 things. It's like, that's how you do it.
That's to me, that's optimal, because you're not spending a whole lot of time on. It's one thing, you get a carload full of merchandise. Now you got to process it, right? You got to bring it home. You got to clean it. You got to take photos of it. You got to list it. And if you can find 4 or 5 items, that's going to bring you back a pretty good return. I say I get really, when it comes to yard sale stuff, I like to have it listed by the end of the weekend. And so if I get a carload full of stuff, it's like almost overwhelming, because I don't want my yard sale stuff, when I do go, to interfere with my normal daily grind of inventory. But then I'll have a backlog of stuff. So I kind of have what I do down to a science, and I don't like that getting kind of interrupted or screwed up by, other things.
It can throw you off. But $1 into 30 is amazing. I pick that up all day long. But in reality, for the time I'm going to put into that item, 100 into 250, I'm making more for the time I put into the item. Now, there's more risk involved in it, of course, because you're tying up more money. But if I don't need that money, then it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
So, and I think, let's see. To flip it is here. I'm sorry, I got to look at these people. I want to.
Yeah. Been showing the comments here. Here's Mike G. 2.5 times flip can be done if your processes are tested and proven. Grown my store past 2 years considerably doing this. So there's a good reason that some would actually take on a buy like that. Again, everyone's got to figure out where they're at, right? And you might say, well, what do you know about what everyone else wants? Because you're obviously, you got your business model. But what a lot of people don't know is that I have offered at one time for people to email me and let me take a look at the store, and I'll be glad to just give an overview of what I think. And on our members only live, we have like a 1 to 2 hour live stream every month where we have people volunteer their stores, or we look at other stores. And not in most cases, but in some cases, you'll come across and go, what is this person trying to accomplish? And I think that for that type of, if you don't have a plan, or you're just out buying things, you don't have a plan for your store, it could be problematic if you're making that kind of a purchase.
Yeah, I think it's important to sit and reflect sometimes on what exactly are you trying to accomplish. If you are trying to go full time, you have to live by a totally separate set of rules, and you have to pay attention to much bigger things than if you're just trying to make an extra $500 to make the car payment at the end of the month or whatever. But this is a good. Okay, so Amazon Seller 99 says, "Where's Pegasus Lounge when we need him?" Just kidding. I'm surprised you.
Well, I think I know why. I think he's been sick.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I just want to say that because I think he did a video and mentioned me in it, and I mean, he wasn't mean or anything or like that, but he's presenting a different type of reselling, and I say this all the time. I'm like, yeah, if you're somebody who wants to not be hands-on, to not touch this stuff, to not whatever, and you want to scale a reselling business and you want to do stuff, that's probably somebody you should listen to. And I just make the point that I just don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make me happy. I'd rather go back to teaching than doing that. I just don't want to do it. That doesn't make him wrong at what he says. I do take exception to the fact that there's ridicule coming to people that are mom and pops doing stuff like me. I wish it was like, hey, if that's what you want to do, go do it. If you really want to make $200,000 a year or whatever doing this and not have to touch, whatever it is, selling replenishables and stuff. I love replenishables. I'm trying to do honey, for goodness sake, right? Mm-hmm. I rip on Harry Tornado soap, but hey, it works for him.
Right.
So I've just always been tried to anyways point out things that really could hang people up, and that's what John does. John, look, I'll be honest, I've never heard you say something. I get accused of shilling and doing whatever all the time. I've never heard John say anything he didn't legitimately believe on any time in his entire time that I've seen him on YouTube. And that's the kind of person that I like to listen to. No fluff, no BS.
Even the Krylov comments
You
and
believed
the
it.
geolocation comments. At the time I made those comments, I had a full belief that was happening.
Well, there you go. And we're wrong. I'm wrong all the time. I mean, I'll say stuff all the time. I've stuck to the fact that it's like, hey, I knew what I used to make per hour teaching, even though I wasn't an hourly wage person. And I'm like, man, I got to the point where I was making more money reselling than I was teaching for the time I was putting into it. I'm like, maybe. And of course, social media hit, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I don't even have to think about that anymore. We can just do this, right? And I can do what I wanted. It's like a reselling Disneyland out here. I love it. I've been able to shape that to meet, it's why I keep the cool stuff. I love cool stuff. Like, I wouldn't want to do what you do. I would do it if I needed to, but I wouldn't want to do it. I want to have an ET sitting next to me and whatever. And it's just a matter of what you want. It's why the whole niche down part versus, you remember that argument that came out, boy? You better niche down or you're just whatever. And then it was, no, you're missing out. Why would you not buy something for $100 that's going to sell for $1,000 because it's not in your niche and it's whatever? To me, it's not an argument. I go out there. They're both legitimate models, and they both can work for people depending on what you want to do. There's this young couple that goes out picking. I love seeing them because they do clothing. And so if I see them pull up, I go right to the clothing if I'm at a yard sale. And I go like, oh, I'm not going to let them beat me to it because that's all they will look at. I'm sure they do amazingly well with it. And just go to the clothing, and they're in and out. Clothing, in and out. They've hit 10 times as many sales as me, and I'm sure they kill it. But for me, I'd rather teach than sell nothing but jeans. That's just me.
Yeah. And look, I'm known for selling toilet seats. That was last year. We don't have any of those anymore. Now it's car parts. It's what comes along, and it's more of a means to an end. I don't have an affinity for a lot of things. Now, what I'd like to be able to say, I have multiple suppliers of this one thing that I really love. Like, for instance, I'd love to sell golf equipment if I knew to come across it, how to get it and make sure it was going to work. I mean, at one point, the second store we have right now, we were going to make that a sports store, and I had a name and everything laid out. Went to a bunch of yard sales because I don't have a dedicated supplier.
Right.
And I realized, I'm like, I might get a few items here and a few items there, but is that the kind of secondary store I want to build a niche? And it's like, no. I mean, would it make me happy to sell these things? Yeah. But it would I would feel disappointed if I failed at that, doing what I just have accepted a long time ago. And I think the first hurdle was when I had my first, remember Bulk? I don't know if you remember that company, Bulk.
Mm-hmm.
They had a agreement with eBay at some point in the past to be the official liquidation of eBay, and I think they're defunct now.
Yeah,
And I bought a pallet from them, and there's a couple cool items in there, and I had no problem listing those items. But then it came to some of the clothing and other things that are in there, and it really like put me off on reselling for a while. It took me a while to get through that pallet. Because I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to sell that kind of thing. And I had to get over it. I had to get over myself and say, look, things are going to come across where you're not going to really want to deal with. And you just have to power through it, because it isn't about, it isn't like you're collecting this stuff. This is just a widget that someone else wants or needs, and you're providing that, get it listed, and get on to the next batch. Yep. And that's been my mindset ever since.
I heard Pete Craigslist Hunter say years ago, before I ever made a video, and it was a live like this, and somebody's like, what kind of, and he just said, sell what you enjoy, and it'll never be work for you. Sell what you enjoy, and it'll never be work. Now, having said that, you watch him, I'm sure some of the stuff he sells, he doesn't enjoy, but those are going to be higher ROI items or whatever, I sell vacuum cleaner stuff sometimes. I don't like it. I don't want to do it, but I do it sometimes. But I'm not gonna buy out a vacuum cleaner warehouse. I'm not gonna do it. I would be miserable for months on end. And my Uncle Steve, I talk about all the time. He does golf. Well, he didn't always just do golf. He was a garage seller, didn't have a source, and he got sources in different places and garage sales where he had so much golf inventory. I'm like, you need to stop buying everything else, because he'd try and pawn it off on me and make money on me. And it's like, you could sell this stuff, right? And I'm like, yeah, I can sell that VCR for you. Sure. How much you want, right? And I'm like, just stop. It's hampering your real money making business over here.
Yep.
That's not the case for everybody, because everybody can't find just tons and tons of golf. He lives in a perfect, maybe the best place in the country for it, right? And so, niching down is the right move for a lot of people, and it's not the right move for a lot of people as well. So
right. And then the argument, I don't live in Vegas. I don't have the opportunities like you. Well, 6 years ago, I didn't live in Vegas either. And I made a decision to move away from friends and family, where I lived almost all my adult life and most of my childhood life in California, out here to Nevada, where I didn't know a soul. Actually, I knew one person who happened to have been moving that same week from California to Nevada, a friend of mine. But aside from that, look, it was just a shot in the dark. We knew that there was, I was traveling out here once or twice a month anyway to get merchandise, and the fact that there's no state income tax, it's like it made a lot of sense. So I guess my point is that I don't know everyone's situation, but the idea, like, if you're in a rural location and you just can't get the kind of stuff, you're allowed to move to anywhere else in the United States if you want to make this gig work. There's opportunities, a lot of opportunities out there if you want it that bad.
Well, I'd say this about that. And this is tough because I don't want to offend people, but I don't like that the creators that say you can find stuff anywhere and you can do whatever, because there are places, I've been to a lot of places where it's a lot harder to find stuff than others. The place where I'm at right here, people think because I make these videos, it's a great place. Jimmy was in this a little while ago. Jimmy Old School Flips. You can find stuff here. He came down one time and gave me a call on a Friday. He's got a relative lives down here. He gave me a call on a Friday. He's like, where are the yard sales at? I'm like, Jimmy, there are no yard sales on Friday out. He's like, what are you talking about? Because they go, my dogs just came in. I'm sorry.
Okay.
He's like, I go to yard sales on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. I'm like, there's no Sunday. Like, you're hard pressed to find an estate sale on a Sunday. You can find them, but there's not, because it's the Bible Belt, right? I'm like, it's Saturday is the day. And I can find some every once in a blue moon on Friday. I was out this last Friday and found some. But some places are tougher. There's no doubt. But it's not impossible. It's not impossible. And if you network and you find the right people and you do storage units, you do whatever. There's different ways to do it. It just may not meet everybody's, criteria. So
there's lots of ways. And that's just the thing. The idea that anyone can come out and say, my way is the only way, because I get accused of that a lot. My way is the only way. First of all, can you imagine if everyone emulated what you do and how you do it, how much more difficult it would be for you to do what you do?
I tell people all the time to not do what I do. I mean, I tell them all the time, if the criteria, like, if you want to be a full-time reseller, because I still don't tell people I'm a full-time reseller, because I'm not. I spend 20 hours a week reselling. I spend more now that I do live selling. But that's how much time I spend personally. My wife helps out a little bit. Jess does all of the live selling, the shipping, and I do the show. But I still consider myself a part-time reseller. My full-time job is I work 60, 65, 70 hours a week, but only 20 of that is on reselling, finding, listing, and shipping. About 20 hours a week. I mean, I was going
to ask you that. So you have Blue Ridge Mama. So I was going to ask you about, where did you get that name at? Where did that name come from?
All right. Well, there's a few things. Well, I mentioned Pete Craigslist Hunter earlier. So I love the fact that early on when he was doing his shows, he had characters in his shows. He had his partner Adrian. He had a couple of his workers. He had his cat and his dog, not dog, cat and his bird. He had
Yeah,
characters.
Honey and Ruby. Yeah.
They didn't have nicknames, but he had characters, right? And so I wanted to have nicknames for my. I started doing this when I was out garage sailing. Like there's a Bizarro Kevin, right? Because his name. Give me 30 seconds. Sorry, y'all. I got to get the
Sure.
dog out of here.
No problem. So, my whole point in even bringing that up is, I don't tell people the way I do it is the only way. I think that's I think sometimes I say things on my videos and it comes across that way, but it's only because I've convinced myself for my situation that that's the only way for me. But that's not to say it's not the only way for everyone else. Go ahead, Kevin.
Primo Chemo says, thanks for the kind words. I'm now on Team Kevin. So sorry you lost him as well. It's,
Yeah. So anyway, so you're saying that you've basically created a character for your wife? Is that
Well,
what you're saying?
yeah. I mean, okay. It goes back to the insecurities, which I want to mention one thing before I do have to get off here because I know I'm running out of time here, but I'm going to say
Yes.
it in a minute. I wanted to create something that people would want to watch who were better than me as a reseller. Does that make sense? Because I knew so many resellers at the time, and I'm like, I'm going to go make this reselling channel, 2 of them. And at the time, I was netting maybe 40 grand a year off of reselling, maybe when I started, right? But I was full time, and so it's like I was full time teacher and doing whatever. So people was like, man, this dude's doing pretty good. But I felt an insecurity because I was flipping Tupperware. And so I was like, I want to create something that's not about how to be the best reseller out there. I just wanted people to be comfortable watching it and listing stuff because that's what I did. I watched Lonnie's show. I watched Pete Craigslist Hunter. I watched Beard, for goodness sake. I was desperate for content back then, watching Beard stuff, So I'm kidding. I did watch him. I would watch all those old shows, all these old guys, all these guys in here. A lot of them, Rad Relics is in here, and you've got all these names. Those were all the people in those chats. I knew all these people before I picked up a camera. I didn't know them, but I knew them from their chatting in there. And so I was insecure about doing that type of channel, so I wanted it to be fun. So I gave people out at the yard sales that I saw every time I went out yard selling, because it's not a big place. I gave them nicknames. I gave my wife a nickname. I gave everybody a nickname because I wanted it to just be fun and different. And that's what that came from.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I've always wondered that. But as I was asking, do you do the picking, the listings that include the photos, or no?
So it's shifted, especially in the last few months. In the past, I honestly did everything. And Blue Ridge Mama might be watching this. Heather is her name, and she's always.
I knew that, by the way.
I know. She's always helped me, but she's not ever been like. The only consistent role she did with us in this reselling business was with the shipping. Consistent role, meaning for a time there when everything was growing and I was trying to push social media and whatever, I would finish filming because I could pick those items in 6 minutes and then start shipping. But I film and me yapping, it takes an hour and something to film the thing, and then I got to go edit it. And I'm like, because she don't mind shipping. She doesn't mind shipping at all. She don't want to ship the hard stuff. So I would finish filming and I would ship the hard stuff, and she would come in for years and ship the easy stuff. And she would ship it. I know Jenna ships for you, right? Or for I guess I shouldn't even say for you because it's a
For us.
it's a partnership, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, okay. And when I was teaching and doing social media for those few years, she would help me with the listings, and occasionally she would take pictures, but I took most of the pictures, and I would drop her pictures from my phone. We'd both list off on her phone. Now that we have Jess, she handles all of the live selling with the exception of doing the show. She does all of it for us. And so my margins are much smaller, but if she wasn't here, I'd have no margin. I wouldn't be making anything. I wouldn't be doing that business. Right. So that's just a chunk that gets added on top. Like, okay, I might sell 100,000 live selling, net whatever but I got to pay her too. And so now I might only make 25 grand off of the entire the entire live selling business a year, but it's 25 grand more than I had. And I'm not doing the work except for doing the show. So it's like, well, that's kind of good money. I might as well do that. And so now that she has enjoyed this job so much, just coming in whenever she chooses, now that I'm overwhelmed, I'm like, could you take some pictures for eBay? and that's evolved. So she does quite a bit of our pictures, and she will also create drafts for us now. And that's not something I ever envisioned. But she's a friend of ours, and she's like, I don't want to go and get a real job, work 40 hours a week. She would come in for 15 or so and do live, do whatever. And it's like, okay, come on for 20. Come on for 25. As long as the numbers add up and you're happy, single mom, doing whatever. And she's been amazing for our business. But
that's awesome.
me and my wife still do all the eBay shipping, and I do all the listings. My wife will occasionally, if there's like 50 things in drafts or something, I'm like, babe, could you knock out some things you're comfortable with putting prices on doing? She'll do that from time to time, but I still do all the listing, and we share the shipping.
That's awesome. Well, hey, I want to thank you for taking the time, helping me clear the air. I promised everyone out there we're not going to talk about this anymore because everyone's tired of it. So you're a content creator, don't make any videos about any kind of controversy because there really isn't. I consider Kevin a friend. I have his direct number by, give that kind of information out to people who you don't think are your friends. So I want to thank you for being fair with me. And
I want to say one more thing. I told you I wanted to say
sure.
one more thing. I wanted to say I'm glad you did not delete that video. I feel like most of the folks in here too, because a lot of them talk about you as a friend because you're just trusted and that's the way you come off. I just want to say I love that video. You did not the personal part of that video, the part that you felt like you didn't ever want to do was what really made me gravitate to giving you another call and talking to you, because all these people in here, especially I believe in the reselling community, a lot of people simply want to make a living for their families. A lot of people want to do this for their families that don't even appreciate it. They're doing this because they want to build something, they want to provide something for their kids or do something for their kids. And their families think it's a burden and a pain in the butt, and there's a mess everywhere and whatever. And there's a lot of people out there that are doing it, and they don't even have the support of their spouse or their kids. I think those kind of videos it's something I haven't ever had the courage to do. Maybe one day I will. Like, people think they know me. I've never told my story. I can't. And I felt like you wanted to. And I'm like, I felt like that they took courage. You and Ray Nashville Flippers, in person, when I met him, he doesn't care. There's some things I get really reserved about and don't want to talk about, and I'm glad you put that video out. And I'm not going to do mine, but someday, dang on it, I will.
All right. Well, again, I want to thank you for taking time out of your evening to be with us here. And it was nice talking to you.
Tell Jenna hello for me.
I will. I
All right.
don't know why she hasn't rolled in yet, but
that's okay.
All right,
I appreciate
it. Have a great rest of your evening, and say hello to Blue Ridge Mama for us.
I will. I'll go review the chat and all the stuff I missed. See y'all.
All right. Take care now. Well, so there we go, guys. That was, oops, let me try to get this so it's straight. Okay, so that's Kevin, Commonwealth Picker, Commonwealth Flipper, however you want to do it. And, I don't know, you could have came in here earlier,
I was waiting for the mailman.
Oh, okay. Still not here?
No.
Uh-oh. Which is not a good thing. We have a lot of packages.
A little nervous.
So he never said he wasn't coming. That doesn't mean that he will or won't, but he's usually here by now, our main mailman. So want to, thank you guys for being here throughout the interview. As stated, we're going to do our normal show.
Hi, everyone. Wait.
What's wrong? We're on StreamYard.
StreamYard.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're on StreamYard right now. So, whoops, we're on StreamYard and just trying to make this align. So, what did you guys think of the interview? Put your comments. I'm sure you guys had a lot of questions we just couldn't get to. We do have a super chat. Damn, I was expecting a fight. No, that's the thing. It was
John's
never
not a fighter.
Look, I think there's a lot of people that were expecting that because don't know, maybe that's the way they thought there was some animosity there. There was never any animosity there. And basically, between every video that was put out, whether it was on his side or my side, we had some interaction via text, and it was never nasty or anything like that. It was just to try to, clear our own air, right, and understand where each one was coming from. So, and like Amazon Seller 99 said, it's not that big of a deal. It really isn't that big of a deal. Look, we're all entitled to our opinions, and the only difference is that separates me and many of you guys out there is I just have a channel and I have a place to voice my opinion. And I ain't gonna always be right either. I'm gonna have my opinion, and many of you guys are gonna try to prove me wrong, and many will prove me wrong, and I'm good with that. I'm not against opposing views or opinions or anything like that. I think some people were saying, hey, that John will delete comments he doesn't agree with. That's not true. If you come at me and call me names and inappropriate, I certainly will not entertain that. But if you're respectable and
I will.
she will. But if
I will fight that.
but it's about just being adults. And look, this is a place where we can all come and share ideas. And I've had many people with the best of intentions say, John, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And I know for my business, it's just not going to work. So I respectfully thank them. It just, I never do it because it's not something that I know is going to be beneficial to us. So want your comments down below. I got a lot of comments to go through. I may not get to everyone because we are certainly an hour now. Instead of being only 30 minutes behind like a normal show, we're an hour behind. So it doesn't sound that bad if you think about it. But
well, it's kind of par for your course.
we got a bunch of folks here. We got Mike Metco. Says, even though you bumped Jenna, say hello, beloved FE family. Hope everyone's doing well and making lots of sales. Excited to be headed to Tennessee tomorrow.
Hello, Mike.
And the Tennessee meetup is this week coming up for a lot of folks. I know Archie's traveling out that way. Hit the like, hit the like early to get all of the day sales. Yes, hit your like button, guys. Hit the like button and get your sale within the next 24 hours. And it helps the show get pushed out there. And want to say hello to anybody who hasn't really watched this program. Maybe you're a Kevin fan, and I think we all are. But maybe you haven't seen this channel before, or you're new to the lives. Welcome. This is a community where we all kind of get together twice a week and just talk about things that are going on within eBay, reselling, and we also share things that are going on with our business. So I'd like to think we've put together a pretty good, strong community. Also, got Keith is with us. Don't forget his channel. He's putting out the content, I think, like every Wednesday. So go check Keith out. It's just like it shows there, Pitco, with no dot at the end. I appreciate that if you guys would do that. Let's see. Here's Mike says, so Kevin Beard said you will be joining us at the Tennessee meetup this week. I believe that is true. I didn't get a chance to ask him. We couldn't get John to come. I sent you a hat, would have given it to you in person had I known. I would have gone, but that would have caused some controversy. So we didn't. I'm just saying, I didn't want you to feel like left out. So we just, because you guys know the situation is like, why can't you both come? It's because we have 2 dogs that are old and depend on us, and it wouldn't work out. That's why we don't travel, really. Let's see. Thomas S. My wife and I have been watching Kevin for years. We love the family atmosphere and all the tips and bolos. I want to talk to you guys about something really unrelated to the conversation that we just had. Something that transpired after Friday's show into today or over the weekend. You guys know that I turned on eBay international shipping for the main account, right? Would you know that didn't get an offer, didn't get a sale, didn't have any offers to watchers, nothing was going on. And it was like, okay, this is weird. Okay, so Friday night came and gone. Here comes Saturday. Woke up to no offers, no sales, no nothing. I'm like, all right, this is the same thing that happened to me a year and a half ago, and I ain't with it. So I went in and I opted out, and all day it said pending opt out. It's never done that. Like the first time, it didn't do that before. So I'm like, oh, I think I broke my account. But after about like maybe 6 or 7 at night, sales. Sunday came. Lately I haven't really had big Sundays. $1,000 day on Sunday yesterday. Today, I think it was at 807 last time I checked. I mean, sales, it's like someone flipped a switch. And I jokingly said to Jenna, I said, well, that's how you do it. If I get a lull in sales, I'm going to turn on EIS, wait 12 hours, turn it back off just so I can get sales. 807 is where it's at. So that's where we're at right now. And awesome. I'm happy for it. So this is not, we're on StreamYard, so it's really a little more difficult to show you screenshots. I can, but it's more of a pain in the butt than on OBS Studio. So and the effort of time, or in the interest of time, I think that we're going to just skip all the stuff where I show you the numbers, at least this time, and we'll do it on Friday's show. Let's see.
You should just keep going.
Yeah,
down.
just keep going down. I'm gonna try to skip through some of the sidebar and some of the questions. If I see some questions, like I want to say hi to like Flipping for the Trailer, Jane's Jungle Safari, Logic Z, Duncan's with us with his KFC. Paul's Merch is with us. Devon, nice to see you, Devon. They got Derek W. Pat, Michael Mullet. Samantha says, hey, John and Kevin in chat, I'm happy to see this. Stay positive, all. We try. No need to get upset or anything. Got Dave Harrington. He's taking a hit right now as we speak. Reef the Sea Forever. Nice to see you, Reef the Sea Forever.
I haven't seen you in a while.
Primo's with us. He's not. Oh, there's spam. So they're actually watching us all, both on their own devices. Dixie Flipper, the best 2 people in the world. Well, thank you very much. Let's see. I think we caught some of that. And then Archie had jumped in here. I saw him.
Yeah, he's right here.
I miss it. Okay. There's Archie, but he's probably doing some live selling right now or something. Let's see. I think we saw Ping G. Nice to see you, Ping G. And Primo says, my heart is split in 3, Vermont, Hawaii, and San Francisco Bay Area. Vermont is beautiful, and then it's cold. Yeah, you have that tiki vibe, that tiki West Coast Vermont taco vibe going on.
That's a strange combination.
Beard King Pickers here with us. Nice to see you, Beard King. Spam says, I hope they hug it out. Virtual hugs. John needs to extend his arms out to his left and Kevin to his right. Yeah, there's no animosity there.
There never has been, you guys. That's why it's so disturbing and frustrating for me to see comments that are like so out of reach. It's ridiculous. There's never been any kind of anything between John and Kevin.
Yeah. You Want You Need says, hey, good to see you, John and Kevin. I appreciate you. I've watched lots of your videos about the best resellers on eBay, and I've learned a lot from them. And you also, you also, Kevin. Let's see. We saw Jimmy. Jimmy was here with us. I don't know why we don't see Jimmy normally, but yeah, okay. Got Jimmy here.
I like Jimmy.
Yeah. Rad Relics, John. Time to sell collectibles. Bottom line, every reseller needs to have their own business model and not be totally influenced by YouTube influencers. Do what is best for you.
Absolutely.
I guess I didn't communicate that well enough in my first video. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been a second video. I didn't communicate that effectively enough to make it clear it was not about Kevin. It was about that point right there. So what?
We have stressed from day one that it is our business model to do it our way. And there are a whole plethora full of different business models that you can do. You can take bits and pieces of somebody else's model. We have said it from day one. I feel like it's like we've constantly said it over and over again, that no one way is the right way.
Yeah. And it's funny, like Commonwealth, I could buy the Barbies back that I sold you. It fixes things. That's probably the comment of the day. Let me just say this. There's a video put out yesterday that totally gets me all wrong. I'm not going to, I learned my lesson from this last thing. I'm not going to mention the creator, but look, this whole idea that I'm not flexible and I'm, if my sourcing dries up, then I'm in a world of hurt and I need to open myself up. And look, I do that. I think I have multiple places where I pick up merchandise. So if one of them was to go out, there's others to pick up the slack. I mean, I've talked about this where plan A is where I do my main sourcing. Plan B is the secondary ones that I still use. Plan C, yard sales. This is yard sale heaven out here. You have right now 20 to 30, which is okay. But when we get into October and then, throughout like May, it's like you have 100 to 200 yard sales out here. So it's not like I'll be starving for we moved to a location where the idea of not having merchandise, it's not even in the cards. We're always going to have merchandise at our disposal. So the idea, I've bought things that have been questionable at times. Like it kind of doesn't fit my business model. I've been open to things and doing things. We've done live reselling. We've done a lot of different things. We've tried things so we can have experience, like on Whatnot doing the live selling. So I'm not against any of these things. Really, I'm not. It's just that if you have opportunities, multiple opportunities, you're going to go and gravitate to the one that's going to give you the best return. Now that goes away. You're still going to look for opportunities. It may not be as good as before, but you're still going to make the best out of that. And I think there's a lot of sellers out there that wish they had some of these opportunities, but they do the very best with what they have and they make it work. And so anything I say is not a disparagement against those folks. It is simply to say that I have all these opportunities and it would be foolish to do opportunity, like buy the items for $1 that I could flip for 10 that many of you guys do, if I can do the same and make more money. That's all I'm trying to say. So make the most out of your opportunity.
Rather ship less items for more money. That's my preference. If I had 50 packages every single day of little items, I would literally lose my mind and I would be begging for some help. There's what we do right now with the volume that we have. I'm completely content with. Yes, I have to wrestle packages. Sometimes I have to flip them and fold them and move them, and it's frustrating. But I would take that over selling more smaller items that weren't going to give us such a large return. That's just the way that we think, Yeah. We've tried the selling other smaller items for a little smaller profit, and that just doesn't sustain us. That doesn't work in our world. So
yeah, as Gail says, nice to see Commonwealth Pickers followers here. Yeah, I think that they're great. I welcome new people that are here for the show that never been here before. Maybe just to see that we're just normal people that are just trying to make reselling work, and we're sharing our experience and learning from you guys as well. Learning that maybe I did something with my business that could have been done better, and maybe you've gone down that path or tried it and it didn't work, or it worked well, and you're able to share that experience with us. Yes, Barbie.
The mosquito guy. We are not in Florida. We are in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah, we're in Nevada. It's we're getting
not
over
Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Oh, nobody lives there. Rita C Forever says my business model is free to 100% profit, less fees, so it leaves me about 80%. That's awesome. I mean, my philosophy has always been the lower you can get into an item, the more you have to work with. So if I am buying that $100, paying $100 for those 2 Barbies, I could flip for $250. How much better could it be if you could actually find a way to get those same Barbies for $50? You can do more with markdown sales, because if you're buying 100 to turn into 250, you're going to be reluctant to try to mark that thing down. You're not going to want to apply a coupon to it, and you're really not going to want to really promote and do the things that eBay wants you to do to help you move those items. if I'm buying similar items at a lower price point, I can do all those things and make the same kind of a profit and get them moved faster. For me, it's the churn. How, I'll have an item for $100 if I can. I really don't want to take less than $100, but someone might come my way and say, "Will you do 70?" If I'm into that item for $10 or less, I know I can get more similar type items, maybe not the same, but I can keep flipping and churning that money. And that's where I can get away with having only 300 items in my store and make anywhere between $12,000 and $20,000 in sales on that account, just depending on the month. And I'm normally we show you our numbers, so we're not just some guys that are here, or a couple here that are just sitting there telling you guys, "Oh, we make money." We show it. We don't just tell it. We show you guys what we do.
Teresa's funny. She's like, "Really, John? Back with the Barbies again?"
Yeah. So we got Duncan says, "Good sales again. I hit the like and got 49 returns from Puerto Rico saying, do you know how much I paid for installation? Crickets and cicadas and KFC sponsored by Tree Dog Meow." It doesn't really work. It works, but it's not linked to this as much. So I don't think they can hear that.
Okay.
Someone's
Sorry,
here
Duncan.
though. Someone here? I
didn't
hope
get-
someone's here.
I did not get.
I didn't get one either. I have my airplane mode on my phone because I kept getting texts. I'm hopeful that the mailman's here, because if that's the case, then we don't have to rush, because I was getting kind of panicky. Logic Z says, "What is even the crux here? If you have $500,000 in your bank, this $100 looks quite a bit different depending on pocket size." And I don't know Kevin's situation. I can promise you, I have enough in the account to get me through 3 months of really not reselling. And I think it's always a good idea to have that padding in your account. But I definitely, it's not 100,000 or whatever that is. I think there's a lot of resellers out there who are living the equivalent of paycheck to paycheck, and I think there's some that really could use that $100 in their pocket versus on their shelf. And my point in this is, if you're making such a purchase, you really need to make sure that it's a hot item and it's going to flip very fast. Otherwise, you may want to consider, now, if you're building stock in your store, like this other YouTuber that I have no problem with, I like him, but he said, it can add some velocity to your store because you have high ticket items. I think that's true. I think there's things that you can do to add velocity to your store, but there's some people that aren't in the position to do that. But real quick, thank you again, Duncan, for the super chat. I didn't know if I thanked you for that. It's certainly appreciated, and we might have to go to KFC tonight in your honor. Jimmy says it's all about supply and demand. If the supply is low and it's an in-demand item, I do the flip all day. And that's what it's about. It's no different than, why do you promote versus not promote? It's all about competition. So if you're into an item that has competition, you're going to do better if you promote. If you are into an item that has no competition, all you're doing is giving eBay extra fees. So, you have to assess the situation before you make that decision. Derek says, I would have bought the Barbies and flipped them for $250, but that's my model. I buy from garage sales. I mean, when I buy them for garage sales, look, you're going to make great buys and you're going to make some questionable ones. I've been there and done that. And I enjoy yard selling. It's just harder to get in that groove, that mindset where it's like, I'd rather take this $200 and get more stuff than what I can get at a yard sale. But it isn't to say that I won't do yard sales. I want to thank Keith for the gift membership. So thank you for that. It doesn't show me who got it. Oh, Primo's a new member. So thank you for being a member. That's awesome of you guys for doing that. Now, what's the purpose of memberships? We keep it to like it's really cheap, $2.99. We do that because we want to keep the serious people in play. So when we do the live streams, it's not going to break the bank. And we have the members only live streams. We can get in there with 20, 30 people, not thousands, and just look at each other's stores and give each other critique and that type of thing. It's very, very productive when we do it, but it's not something I would feel comfortable doing on a regular live stream. So thank you, Keith. I think you gave a second one out as well. And I don't know who got it because it's not showing it to me. So again, thank you for the gift memberships, Keith. That's totally awesome of you, and it's awesome that Primo is a member. That's really cool. Let's see. Trying to get through some of these comments though, because there's some really good questions or comments in here. Let's see. Says, I appreciate your advice in the channel, Kevin. You're one of the first channels and people that I learned a lot of reselling from. And it may not seem like it, but when, he puts his content out, he's talking about a topic and he cuts over to, and I tease him a lot about this. He cuts over into picking the item. He'll tell you why he bought it. He'll tell you the mindset of why he bought it, why he thought it was a good purchase, what he's into it for, and that type of thing. And it does give people ideas when you're going to yard sales to say, I remember seeing this or a similar item being sold, and maybe I'll buy it because this is the thought process behind buying it. So there is some value, even though I tease them a lot about it. In fact, I was going to do a little skit where 10 minutes into our discussion, I was going to cut away and grab some items and say, hold on, I got to pick this item and, do what he does. But I totally forgot about that. Alfonso says, I have a bag of ladies' 1960s clothing in my storage, likely worth good money. Been sitting nearly a year. I just find clothing to be boring. It is boring, and you're better off with clothing to have the right layout to list it, because if you're like an everything seller like me, I have an area that I list my items, but I really don't have the ideal layout for flat. I think flat lay is the way to go with clothing, by the way, but I don't have a mannequin. I don't have a great place to do flat lay.
We used to have all of that stuff because we got a lot of clothing, but we don't like clothing. I mean, I like to wear it, but that's about it.
We're not big fans of it, to be honest with you. We'll pick up. Does that mean if we come across a really big time name brand, will we pass it up? No, we'll find a way to list it and take photos of it. We're just not set up optimally for clothing. And I really think if you're going to be in clothing, you need to decide, if I'm going to be in clothing, I'm going to have a dedicated optimal way to make my photos look good and stand out. John says, I quit buying from professional pickers as they wanted too much for their junk and they were becoming my competition. And going back, and I'm really sick of talking about this example, but because it's on our mind, and it won't be talked about after this. But the whole Barbie thing, if someone's asking $100 at a yard sale for 2 Barbies, they probably know the value already, and it makes me wonder if that person was a reseller of those Barbies, and those Barbies were long tail, and they weren't selling them fast enough or at all, and maybe I've been across a lot of yard sales where you go and they have all this stuff out and you find that they're an eBay seller as well. And it makes me second guess everything that I'm looking at, because my thought is, well, why don't you sell this on eBay if you have an eBay store? And this particular person said, oh, it's all listed. So if it's all listed, you obviously either are overpriced, but yet you're willing to give it at a huge discount at a yard sale, just
or you're not,
or but it's just so I wonder, if that would have been $20 for the 2 Barbies, that to me would have been more of, as a buyer of these things, I would be more like, wow, it's a score. But at $100, this is another thing that I didn't talk about. At $100, I'm kind of thinking, what's the real velocity behind these two items? You want 100, and these things can maybe get sold for 250, and that's before fees. What's the real reason why you have them at a yard sale and you haven't sold them yet? That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm kind of trying to understand the situation more. So Brando B says, Kevin gets to talk more on John's podcast instead of with Dave and Carrie. Yeah, he's a good sport. Nobody's picking on Kevin on this for being old, because I'm older than Kevin, so I can't really go there. Let's see. Trying to see. We got Buy Low Sell Chai. We got Mary McQueen in the house.
Hello, Mary.
Thomas says, you guys ending and sell similar tonight. Be careful. There is a lag when ending, taking 30 minutes the show ended. So I did mine earlier today. I did my end item relist and it's takes away a extra step of having to go in and deleting. So that's kind of what I do. It. Alfonso says, I'm a selective buyer. My friend buys in bulk. He makes 4x what I make, but he needs 3 warehouses to store the stuff. Yeah. And I'm starting to sour on my storage unit, guys. Making great money. We haven't gotten into Q4, making really good money as compared to last year. We're up, and I really haven't made too many trips to the storage unit yet like I thought I would. So we're getting close to making that decision here pretty soon. Hutch says, cool, Kevin is the best. Yeah. Let's try to get to some new folks. Picking with the pages. Hi, y'all. Hit that like. Hit that like button. Get your sale within the next 24 hours. I'd appreciate that.
They're from Virginia.
Yeah. Two of my favorites, Dana from Virginia here. It's Q4. Let's rock this.
Awesome.
So we are literally like a week away from Q4. And the question I have is, are you guys ready? Are your processes in place? We just changed our process. Our processes aren't yet in place. She doesn't like to hear that, but we still have maybe what, 3, 4, 5 more pages? You got to get that.
I don't you
You
dare.
got to get that in
Don't you
place.
dare try to boss me around.
Are you really going to go there right now? You could be a little nicer than that. I didn't boss you at all.
Yeah. Well, this weekend's been a little bit busy, and so we were doing other things, but I will resume tomorrow.
She's really not this salty with me. Just for you new viewers, she really does like me a little bit. A little more so on camera than when the camera's off. But
Stop.
we've got Pete here, the GOAT. Nice to see you, Pete. Awesome that you've tuned in to us, and you're always there in the background lurking. I love that. Let's see. Beard says, Kevin, I do it for my family, but they're supportive, so I'm thankful. Yes.
Yeah, because just like Kevin said, there are a lot of people, those that do YouTube and those that don't have a supportive network that they can turn to when they're having trouble. And it's super important to be a team. And I truly believe, I'm so thankful that John is the way he is, and how hard he works and how loyal he is, and just how much he puts our family first. And it's very powerful to see him every day, day in, day out, headache or not. He's going at it better than I ever could. And so as a provider and a leader of our family, I'm truly blessed to have him.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And you do great. This is our mushy moment.
No,
you do great. You do great with the shipping. So I appreciate that. I mean, think about it like this. The more you sell, the side effect of selling is you have to ship it. And the more you ship, the less time you're going to have to do the other things that you need to do to grow your business. So I couldn't even imagine where the store would be if I didn't have someone that was not only able to, but willing to. And, you know, she gets up, she knows it's her task. I don't know if she's convinced herself, like tricked her mind into thinking this is just the way it is. And, but she'll get out here like today. She spent a good chunk of her morning getting the listing done.
29 packages.
Yeah, and you know, now she will cuss at the paper tape machine or something like that. Oh, by the way, I have to ask you guys, who's the wise guy here? Who is the wise guy?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, I have a bone to pick with
someone's a wise guy here.
Somebody sent me a tape dispenser for my 3-inch tape, and I am truly grateful.
Who's the wise guy?
I would love to know who sent that. Thank you so much. If you decide to stay silent, I understand.
We've whittled it down to maybe a handful of people who know our address. So why don't you just come clean and admit who you are so we can thank you.
Thank you. I did use it last night and again today. So I do enjoy it. Thank you so much to whoever did send that to us.
Yeah, Sherlock's Cool Treasure says hello, nice to see you.
Hello.
And I think I said hi to Henri Squaw, but if not, Spam is Team Banshee, is I'm Team Pokey. Says Alfonso says she's waiting for the mailman. Must look like Fabio in his prime. Do you think he looks like Fabio?
No. No.
Yeah.
He could be my father.
And to flip it, since it wasn't a big deal, I just felt bad when it seemed like John was beating himself up. No need at all.
No, I think it's sometimes we do our best, our very best, to not take the comments personal, but sometimes they strike a nerve and it creates and causes us to revert back to a past, whether that be trauma or a bad experience or a life that you once had and you wish you didn't. There are just certain things that can trigger an emotion, and I am guilty of that. That happens quite often to me. But for John, it rarely happens. And so somebody must have said something that struck that nerve, not in anger or anything else, but in pure, just the fact that it hits just a little different. And sometimes that emotion comes out and you don't really, it's not a controlled thing. So it had nothing to do with the whole Barbie thing. It had nothing to do with Kevin, had nothing to do with any of that. Somebody must have.
It was something in the comments, because remember that last video, I actually was reading some of the comments and I actually put them, and it was something that kind of hit home, that little different. So
you have to, I mean, people, you have to be very aware of what you're saying to people, because you don't know their life, you don't know their backstory, you don't know what they've had to go through. And so for people to come out and be rude and mean and disrespectful, and maybe you didn't even know that you said it to strike a nerve. Maybe you just don't like John, which is fine, but don't start to dig there. When you start to cause someone to feel bad for themselves or their situation, it's just not okay.
Well, moving on. Keith says it was all branded to be something more than what it is, and it was in the end. Both was right in their own context and got picked up and twisted. And there's people that ran with it. Look, we made our videos and everything, and it was not a pre-scripted thing. And we were both kind of like, "What is this?" It's.
I think not necessarily our comments or our people, you guys are our people, you're our family. I don't think it came from any of them. I don't think that it came from anything there, but people can misconstrue what is happening or what is being said. People do that all the time in many different scenarios and cases. So
yeah, I can come off a certain way to people. I can come off as it's my way is the best way, the highway, whatever way. And I don't mean to do that. And it could be the RBF, the resting bitch face that I have at times when I'm on these videos. But I'm really a nice guy. And I really just trying to do what everyone else here is trying to do. And that is to figure this whole reselling thing out and find something that's going to work so that we can say, this is a way that I can bridge myself to my retirement. And even beyond that, once I get there, we're not very close, but once I get there,
I'm far from
I can be in a place where I can scale this down to where it's manageable, kind of like Todd does, Silver Hair Stacker.
And I know that we won't be selling these big, giant, large items forever, because that it's just not going to be possible in the transition of getting older. I mean, it just is not going to be feasible. So as we've, we started with shoes and buying things from Ross and TJ Maxx, and our business has evolved over the years, and we've done the little items and the selling
We've tried all kinds of things.
We've done a lot of different things.
So
we may not have done it all, but we've done a lot.
And we've done a lot because we're open to doing a lot.
Right.
We're open to trying it. And the idea that I'm going to go back, I'm going to reopen that door to go back to a product that didn't do all that great for us for what we need. It's not in the cards. Now, is that to say I won't ever go back if this dries up? Certainly. We're going to do the bottom line is you got to do the best you can with the situation. Like Graham Bates here, he only got 4 sales last week and needing 1 sale to get top rated. He got 8 sales over the weekend, but now I have to wait until October to officially get it. It's a weight off my mind. There you go.
Okay. Graham. You got it. You did it. You did that work, and you
keep pushing.
Have to just keep pushing through. Like
today, woke up, I had this splitting headache.
Yeah, we both did.
Had this splitting headache, and I just kept saying to myself, okay, we need to get through. I had this on the rack. I had so many. I said, just get through these, get through these, get through these. Push. Got it done. Went and laid down for an hour before the show. Right. Feel a lot better because of it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the weather that's changing that's causing us to get headaches all of a sudden, but I haven't had a headache since May, you guys. I have not had a migraine since May.
Thomas S says, thanks for the great show. Off to bed, 2:30 a.m. comes early. You're dealing with so many people here. Don't let the rude people get to you. You guys are the best. You spend 46 hours of your week just to help everyone. Well, thank you, Thomas. Appreciate those kind words.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for that in the super chat. It's not expected or requested. I mean, if we never got another super chat in our life, we would be still thankful that you guys are here. So thank you so much. John Elishat, hopefully I got that right. Nice to listen to you while listing some motorcycle parts.
Oh, nice.
You know what? It's funny because I listed my favorite kind of motorcycle part.
Sissy bars.
Yeah, because and I every time I get one, I start telling her, I'm like,
be a sissy.
Yeah, I like, don't be a sissy. Sit on the back of the bike. Like a man. Don't be a sissy. I remember one time when I was a teenager and I was getting a ride from someone who had a motorcycle and I didn't want to sit on the back of their bike. And he told me that, don't be a sissy. And that's where that term came from. I know it did. A sissy bar, where it's a seat they put in there and you can snap it in place.
A motorcycle
those all the time.
Without anything to hold on to other than the other person is frightening.
Yeah. Blithing Rando says, I didn't know there was any expected drama here. Different sellers are gonna different opinions, different business models, and all that.
Yes.
But you will be surprised the number of people who will form their own opinion, and they will, like, if you offer a different idea, how you're totally like off base. But we could both be right.
Yeah.
Because you're making that work for your situation. I'm making it work for my situation. So Dave says, now that I think about it, I'm probably more Team Pokey as well. It's awesome. We got Tawana Witten says, with everything happening in the world nowadays, reselling techniques is certainly nothing to get panties in a wad about. This is a wonderful exchange between the two great guys. Appreciate you guys. Well, thank you.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying
and
that.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate you, the fact that you dropped in and made a positive comment. Appreciate that. Bling Bling Factor. Hi, John and Jenna. Long time no see. Where have you been?
We miss you. I haven't seen any pictures on Instagram lately either.
So hopefully you're doing well. Yeah. Nice to see you, Alfonso. We'll see you on the next one. Randall and Lori Gray.
Hello.
I watch y'all. I didn't chat. I'm usually listening while listening. Well, thank you for we love it when new people come in and say hello. So thank you for doing that.
Wait, hold on. Before you
what does this say?
Oh my God. I freaking love your profile picture.
Grams and Pops Vintage. We sold 4 orders international this weekend.
Nice. Good job.
We just don't get a lot. Like I have, here's the thing I have. This is what pushed me to, on the main account, try at least, and I blame it on the British, and it is the British this time. They wanted a part for this robot vacuum. I have the motherboard. It's like $100 and something. And they're like, can I buy this from you? I've been looking for this part. And I'm like, well, we don't offer international, but Give me a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and that was the final straw for me at the time. So let's go ahead and do it. I don't want to lose a sale anyway. So if there's any reason to do it, it's now when I have a pending possible sale. So he's like, okay, fine. So I went and changed it, and the guy didn't buy it. So like a day or two went by, well, a day and a half went by, sales were crap. I'm like, okay, I don't know where the hell this guy went. So I went and changed it back, and now he's like, I couldn't buy it that night. He's like, I couldn't buy it. Well, no crap, because I disabled the international shipping. So I said, look, I will put the item on my other store, and if you're okay with that, I'll give you the information, the link, so you can go and buy that, because that's already enabled with EIS. Okay, fine. Still hasn't bought it yet. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to send Keith over there.
Just don't.
It's the British's fault.
Yeah.
Wolfman's Goody says, howdy, everyone. Nice to see
Hello.
Wolfman. Pat Rose, I had a 30% off sale on the weekend. One sale. One.
Oh, my gosh.
One.
What the heck?
Mike G says, I've noticed that many of my low sale, dollar sale days involve EIS sales. Everyone has a different experience with EIS, I guess. So just us, we just don't get a whole lot of it with what we're selling. We have Classic Phase with us. Nice to see you. And then Buy Low Sell Chai says, John, you should have done a hairdo battle. Both of you, Kevin, should have taken your hats off, had the chat vote on who has the best hairdo. That's my hair. And I got to tell you, I'm looking at my hair before the show, and I'm like, I'm getting like thin hair. I might have to get that hair dye out. And
that'll make it worse. You don't want to.
If you do it right.
If you were to put dark or dye your hair dark and your hair is still thinning, it's still going to look thin.
Blithering Rando says, I've been having solid sales even as I fall behind listing lately. As winter comes, my pile will get listed.
Nice.
And for some, it's sort of like the situation I'm trying to avoid with the storage unit. You know, for whatever reason, we have plentiful stuff here to buy, but I find that we have a lot of people that are trying to buy the same thing, and I don't want to get above a certain amount for the same thing that I'm used to buying. So then I have a backlog of merchandise all in my storage unit. For when that comes, I'll have something to gravitate to. For us, it's sort of like the same problem a lot of people have in the winter. Like your yard sales are non-existent. You're only able to go to maybe a random estate sale that's inside, maybe, or have a thrift store or two.
Hold on, I have to push the button for a minute.
It doesn't work.
You can do it.
It doesn't work on.
You can do it, Dunk. You can do it.
So we are on StreamYard, so it doesn't work like
it won't come
the other
through
one.
the system.
But I can do this if you want. You can do it.
You can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
There you go. Now they heard that one. But I'm in the
how did
comments.
you do
Well,
that?
because it's programmed in here, but I'm in the comments, so I don't want to lose my place.
Okay.
Henri Squaw says, it's business. Even your videos, don't take things personally. This topic has been blown way out of proportion.
Yeah.
It has been, but it really wasn't the topic that I had a problem with. So Duncan says, John, you did get to 300 listings, yet mine at 229. Too many daily sales, too hard to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to tell you, I was joking with Jenna
What are you at
over
now?
over the weekend. I'm like, yes, I got it over 300. I'm having this tug of war with eBay, right? Goal is to get it up to 500, but you got to get to 300 before you get to 500 items. May not seem like a lot to you guys, but to us, we're selling so much stuff in our store that it's hard to keep up. So with the slow sales on Friday and Saturday, somewhat slow sales, I'm churning, get it over 300. Sunday and today, $1,800 in sales, and we're down to like 290. It's like, oh, okay. It's a good problem to have, but I'm still trying to build it. The mosquito guy, nice to see you. I think we already answered that question.
Mm-hmm.
Picking with the pages says, yes, ma'am. I only had 13 sold today and still literally physically cried.
Yeah. It can be, depending on your circumstances and your situation. There are some days where 13 would absolutely kill me in my body, the way that it reacts to my movement. And so I completely understand. Today, my elbows are hurting, but I would take what we had today over anything more than 29 packages. Gosh, you get into 50, 60 a day. I don't think my body could keep up.
Ken Dryden says, what's your theory reasoning that EIS kills your sales? It's just more eyes, bigger buyer pool for your items, right? You know, eBay came out and said, you know, there's 70 billion people. No, 70% more buyers, not 70 billion people, 70% more buyers out there that are international than what we're currently dealing with right now. And opening up EIS opens it up to 70% more. But that's a fallacy, because 70% of the people that aren't looking at ebay.com aren't looking at ebay.com no matter where they're at. Maybe it adds, it's sort of like cross listing. You know, we say, you know, you use TreeCat to cross list and you're going to get 10 to 15% more in sales, because you're opening up your items on other platforms, because some people just don't want to deal with eBay for whatever reason. And you're getting more of your items sold that way. And I guess you can look at EIS the same way. You're opening it up to a few more people who are looking at ebay.com. But for me, I would say, is the juice worth the squeeze? And it's not, because when they first came out with the EIS back in May of 2024, I was all for it. I loved the idea. I think it was better than global shipping program. And I went on there. I was one of the first ones. Once it said it was launching, I went in there and opted in. And within days, my sale velocity went down huge. I mean, big time, not getting anything. Other people were complaining the same thing. I'm like, okay, maybe there's something in the back end that's screwing this up. It's a good program on its face, but I'm out. So I opted out. My sales within minutes, boom. In fact, this last time when I opted back in, I opted out, 5 minutes later, sale.
Yeah.
Okay. And then here comes a storm of sales that night and through today. It's been nonstop.
Yeah.
So it's like, what am I really trying to do here? When we have it on the other account, which we still do, it's not really doing a whole lot for our sales.
It doesn't affect our sales on my store.
So to add 1 or 2% volume, potential volume in sales, even if it was working properly, is it worth the risk of what I've seen the now 2 times that I've switched over? So maybe most people see a great benefit to it. For me, it's heck, if anything, I'll just, if I'm having a bad run of days of sales, I'll opt in and then real quickly opt back out, just so, you know, I could test this theory to see if it helps my sales. No, I mean, I'm just joking. I say that in jest, but it's what's happening. So the item, look, the idea is, how can we move our items as fast as possible and get as much of the money that we would like to get for our items? And I don't think, for me, that involves EIS.
Yeah. I mean, we sell auto parts, and a lot of the auto parts that the auto or the car manufacturers that are here in the models that we have here, they don't have in the other countries. So it's just easier to sell local or in the United States.
And Jane's got an announcement. She's 85% of the way done revamping. All the main things I sell are updated. And guess what? Sales.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. Jane was on, she was brave enough to say, look at my store on the members only.
You, Jane.
This is when you're in California. Yeah. And she's like, okay, what can I do here? And so the 20 plus people that we had in the members only live, we were, talking about it in a constructive way, saying, hey, there's some things that I would do differently here. Others were saying, let's try this. And she took those changes, she put them into action, and she's seeing results. So
right. And the fact that all we can do is suggest things and see if it changes this, how many sales you're getting or what you're selling. I think that's great. You put in the work, you're open to feedback. Not a lot of people are open to hearing, oh, well, this is why you're not making sales, or maybe you should do this. Some people are not open to things, and they're very strong in their opinion that my store looks fine, and they don't see what everybody else sees. So I think that's really cool, Jane.
Christopher Nutter says, hi, nice to see you, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
And then Desi Rebecca Flippin says, I bought 2 Barbies at an estate sale, ended up being a great score.
That's awesome.
And Desi was the winner of the TreeCat merch. And
yeah,
we pass it on to them, and you'll be getting that very, very soon. So Very cool there. Flipping for the trailer says both John and Kevin are good men. Need more resellers like them. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Then and Now Collectibles says I had an item sell yesterday that sold months ago. I just told them I didn't ship to the States due to the tariffs, so I didn't get a ding. Well, that worked out for you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Samantha says, bravo, Jenna, bravo. And Spam says, John is a solid individual. Well, thank you, Spam. The check is in the mail. I appreciate those kind words. Sherlock's Cool Treasures says, great to be here in the chat. We're glad to have you. Yeah. Don't be a stranger.
Yeah.
Todd says he resembles Flabio.
Mike says we ain't talking. What does that mean?
Huh?
Right here.
We ain't
Mike,
talking.
what are you talking about?
We ain't talking. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Then Now Collectible says, I had an item sell yesterday that I sold months ago. No idea how to get it relisted again. Has this ever happened to you? If it's older than 90 days, it's going to be purged from eBay's system, right? So that's the thing. I mean, if you come across an item that you may get again, you can do the out of stock option on eBay, which kind of throws you off because you might have a lot of items that show zero inventory. But here's a solution, and it's free for the next 2 months. Use my code down below, go to TreeCat, and import all your listings there. Those won't go away. They're going to hold on to your photos and your listings. So if you happen to have a situation where you run into where I'd like to be able to go back and not have to list this item again, boom, you can do it right there. Whether you're cross-listing it or not, they're adding a lot of cool features at TreeCat. So make sure you're going over there and use my code and get 2 months for free, guys. Let's see. Pat says, have you all used your eBay supplies coupons? So yes, you got another week before Q3's coupon's not going to be any good. So use that coupon because here in the next little over a week, you're going to be getting new store coupons for supplies. So we always do that.
No KFC.
Sounds good. If you had, let me tell you something, Duncan. If you had Popeyes out there in Australia, you would be not touting KFC anymore.
There has got to be another restaurant other than KFC.
Well, KFC isn't chicken though. It's kangaroo fried chicken.
Ew, come on.
Oh, okay.
That's sad.
Mix Mercantile says, hopefully I'll get my top rated seller back in October. Yes.
Yeah.
Keep working at it because there's a benefit. It basically is, it's a badge that tells eBay that you're doing the right things and you're going to get a higher ranking in your listings. G Gazara says, hi, John. Got to the party late. Well, you're here. And then Big Dre missed the Commonwealth hash out. Have to catch the replay. Yes, it was really,
really uneventful.
It got World Star in here. Duncan says, John, what's your retirement age? 98, 67. I may look 98, 95, but I ain't that old yet. Duncan says, have you had many international sales? Lots of my sales are UK or USA. Really not a whole lot.
No, ours are a lot of East Coast.
Devon says, John, no hair dye.
Yeah, no hair dye.
Desi says, we heard it when Jenna pushed
when I pushed the button.
Oh, okay. It may be just faint. Artkin says, EIS is zero risk sales, dumb to not have it on. It's another weird conspiracy in your head, like the location, etc., etc.
Hey.
But let me just tell you, Artkin, I'm making money without it. I don't need it. It's not something I'm really itching for. I have it on my second account. I don't have it on the main account. I'm not going to sit up here and make a video about it and try to convince you that, hey, I found a little trick in the system. I'm not going to do that. I may say it in jest. Heck, even the geolocation thing, I really thought there was something to it. I may say it in jest. Doesn't mean that and that's just another example of when resellers on YouTube say something, do your own research and figure out if it's going to work for you. For me, I hope you have you can have my international sales. Yeah. I will push that out to you. So you get a little bit more international sales that would have belonged to me. And hopefully that helps you out. I don't want them. At this point, I'm done with EIS. I'm done tinkering with it. I'm happy with the sales that we have ever since we opted out. And that's the way it's going to be. Because it all boils down to this. It doesn't matter how you get there. At the end of the day, when you're checking your payments drop down and you click on summary, how much money do you have coming into your bank account on Tuesday if you do weekly deposits, or daily if you do daily deposits. That's the scoreboard. And the goal for every reseller is find a way to make that number get as high as you can. And if that means eliminating some things that eBay may want you to do, then that's what you should do. And that's what I'm doing.
And Devon, EIS is eBay International Shipping.
It's a great program on its face. It's just, maybe that eBay puts my account in like a timeout phase, recataloging the listings, and I'm not getting any sales. Well, every day that passes, if I'm getting $500 to $1,000 in sales, I'm literally paying that for that program. If you think about it, I'm basically suspending my account from any real sales activity because I'm waiting for eBay to catalog my listings under that program. I'm not interested. I don't want to do that. It was fine with the other account, and I don't see a lull in sales in that account, but maybe there's a period of time that I have to wait, and I'm not interested in waiting. No. Jane says, revamping things that I will not focus on again. Women's size 14 to 16 clothing, and men prefer boxer briefs over boxers. I second.
That's true.
Who did it? Okay, nice to see you. Grams and Pop says Popeyes is I don't know. I like Popeyes.
I don't like
spicy.
I don't like either.
Mike says, you asked me for info on the tape dispenser. I said, we ain't talking.
Mike,
you were on that list.
You were on the list.
And I'm like, he's a sneaky guy.
Thank you, you sneaky little guy.
He's a sneaky guy. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
You want you need says eBay can actually restrict your listing views internationally if they don't comply with certain countries' rules. Mm-hmm. It's in one of their policies. It's to make sure sellers don't get into trouble. Sure. I agree with that. Yeah. I agree with that. And my second account, we have it on. We'll just keep it this way. I'm happy the way it's
fine how it is. I don't want him tinkering with things when things are going good.
Beard is on Team Replay, so that's good. That's good. Who did it? 99. I'm with Kevin on this one. $100 for 250 Barbie is 100% ROI, $100 profit as long as the sell-through rate is good. That is a no-brainer, and no way you lose money. No way to lose money. There's way that you can sit on the money, and if it doesn't sell fast enough, you come across an opportunity and you happen to need those funds to reinvest, it's a problem. But again, I'm not here to tell you how to run your business. I'm just telling you what I would prefer with my own business. So, and I don't want anyone to emulate what I do. I want you guys to do what works for you.
Yeah.
FAE membership so Duncan has the Flipping Easy Ain't membership in Australia for $45 on our funds to Jenna. Hey,
I'll take that.
Jane says Popeyes is disgusting. KFC is also disgusting. Chick-fil-A is overrated. Oh, that's what I said. Sorry. And then yes. Duncan says they have Macca's there and they have Pizza Hut.
No.
Mike G says,
I remember to find some mom and pop places that sell great food.
I remember that when people the line was out to the street on the drive-through, and then Popeyes came out with that chicken sandwich, and it was only okay.
It was ridiculous.
Mike G says, God's chicken makes me not feel good. Guess the 100 ingredients doesn't agree with me.
True.
Samantha says, John, Jenna, and FA chat have a great evening. Looking forward to chatting with you Friday. Yes. And I think we're getting close. Duncan's 14 degrees Celsius here. Top is 17. Got to go post my order soon. Post office not that far. And yes, Basket Noodle.
Oh, be nude.
You are a little late to the
party.
Yeah, to the party, but you can always be part of Team Replay. And yes,
Scott is officially a professional napper. He's worse than I am.
Ken says, what is the healthy click-through rate? Mine is at 0.2. How do we participate in having our stores looked at? You can always email me at flippingainteasy2020@gmail.com. What many people find is that I don't always get to my emails quickly. You can, of course, become a member. It's $2.99 a month, but you can be a part of it when we do the members only. I'm thinking that where the next members only is going to be probably on the we might do one this week. Depends on what I got going on. But if we don't do it Wednesday, we'll do it the following Wednesday on the 1st. And we have a cool group of folks who come in and hang out, and we just do a deep dive into our stores. And if you want to maybe volunteer your store, we can go through it. And
But you don't have to do that. You can just send them an email.
yeah. So and we're not trying to do the membership to make really anything. I really hated to do the membership for the show, but the problem is, if we did this kind of video and put your stores out for the masses, a lot of people would be uncomfortable and not want to volunteer. Yeah. So it just works, what we have going on. Plus you have all the videos we've done on the side, like the members only, that kind of does a deeper dive into things that we do that the world doesn't really care for. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for being the best part of this program. Thank you for being here throughout this entire 2-hour show. Thank you to Kevin, Commonwealth Flipper, or Picker, depending on which one he really prefers. Picker. And, I just think it just shows that he's a great guy, and he'll take time out of his day when he didn't have to be part of the show. So again, look who turned up. Wow. Where have you been? Have you stopped getting our notifications?
Lisa, how are you?
Yeah, nice to see you.
She's had her own ish going on.
I know, but we are here every Monday and Friday at 3 p.m. Nice to see you. So with that, guys, I want to thank you for being here, and we will probably see you sometime this week, and if not, we'll see you on Friday's show. Take care, everyone.
We love you. Mwah.
Lowball offers too. 0 takedowns, they're a pain. What can we do? High selling fees, bad buys, and rude buyers galore. Flipping ain't easy, but we keep coming back for more. All resellers are gonna make mistakes. Learn from them and you'll have what it takes. In the world of reselling, we're your guide. With flipping ain't easy by your side. Sourcing great items is the key to success. Subscribe to the channel and stand above the rest. Focus on the thing that is within your control. Hang with flipping ain't easy. Let's roll. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune into the podcast. Profit Playbook's the name. With Scott and Josh, flipping's more than a game. All resellers are gonna make mistakes. Learn from them and you'll have what it takes. In the world of reselling, we're your guide. With flipping ain't easy by your side. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune into the podcast. Profit Playbook's the name. With Scott and John.